From Scarborough East, Pickering.
Pickering-Scarborough East. Thank you, Speaker. I'm very happy to speak on this very important bill today, and we are committed to passing Bill 13 as soon as possible. I do want to acknowledge the member from Trinity Spadina and the member from Hamilton Mountain for their supportive comments. And we are in total agreement. We need to get on with this. However, I also want to assure the member from Trinity Spadina, we do know what it takes to make this bill happen, and I will be speaking to that soon. We want to work with our colleagues in opposition, and I call on the members of the official opposition to help pass this bill as quickly as possible. Speaker, I get many calls in my riding of Pickering-Scarborough East about this bill. People are supportive of it. People have some suggestions. That's what we have committee for. We need to move this forward. I do want to share a comment we received from Dara in Toronto. She says, and I quote, "I wish to congratulate the Liberal government on putting forward an anti-bullying platform that provides recognition, protection, and support to all Ontario's children. I applaud you and the Premier for standing up for what is right, for showing all our children that we live in a province where discrimination and bullying of any kind for any reason is not okay, that it is their right to do what they can do to stop it, and that our government will support them in supporting each other." So I thank Dara from Toronto for sending her comments to us. The Accepting Schools Act, if passed, will bring tougher consequences for bullying and hate-motivated actions. It will require all schools to support students who want to lead activities that promote understanding and respect for all. It will require school boards to develop policies and guidelines that include supports and resources for all students, and recognize Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week and legislation to ensure and support existing activities and boards and within the communities to make it very clear that bullying is not okay. The proposed Accepting School Acts is a key component of our government's plan to make Ontario schools healthy, safe, and inclusive learning environments where students feel accepted. Ontario is recognized across jurisdictions and leading the way with aggressive safe school legislation. And I know, Mr. Speaker, that there are many school boards in our province who already have laid strong foundations for this legislation. There are many school boards, including the Durham District School Board, where I sit on the special ed committee of that school board, where they have not just policies in place, but they've executed on those. And this legislation will build and strengthen on those. So I'm very proud of that. Ontario is the first province to require all school staff to report serious student incidents, including bullying, to the principal of the school. But there is more work to do, and that's why we're making it law to create safer and more accepting schools for all students. The proposed legislation would provide clear expectations and increase accountability for school boards and bullies, including making expulsion a possible consequence for bullying. And one of the things, Speaker, I like about this bill is that it recognizes all of the key people involved in bullying issues: the bully, the witnesses, the bystanders, the staff, all the people affected, the victims. We speak to support for everyone involved, because we can't address this serious issue if we don't have the sufficient supports in place. And getting back to the member from Trinity Spadina, again, I appreciate his supportive comments about the bill, but I do want to assure him that there are enough hows in this bill. We know how to execute this, Speaker, and the bill will build on our efforts over the last 6 years to prevent bullying and create a very positive school climate. Some of the things include integrating the mental health supports in schools as part of Ontario's 10-year mental health and addiction strategy, which is very much focused on children in this province, Speaker. The bill also required the establishment of an Accepting Schools expert panel to give advice on new resources for parents, school staff, and other matters and other players involved in the process. The legislation will also provide direction to the Curriculum Council to report back next year on integrating equity and bullying prevention across the curriculum. The legislation also provides for public awareness campaigns to remind all Ontarians about their role in preventing bullying. Like all legislation, if we can have good legislation, but if we don't communicate it properly, we keep it the best kept secret. So we are doing more than just telling bullying kids will get better. We are working together to make it better now. It is incumbent on each and every one of us to make sure students feel safe, included, and welcome in Ontario schools. Speaker, I believe if we all think back, most of us have experienced bullying at some point during our school years. Some more than others, unfortunately, but it does impact people and it stays with them for life. I remember feeling very intimidated and threatened by someone half my size and height in high school, and I'll never forget that experience. That is a much more minor example compared to some of the very tragic situations we've seen happen in our province. And unfortunately, many suffer in silence for fear of reprisal or for fear of not being supported by their school or their school board. So that is why this legislation is so important. School safety has been a priority for this government from the beginning, and that's why all school boards must have policies and procedures on bullying prevention and intervention. We need to level the playing field more on all the good work that all the school boards have done around promoting safe schools. Since 2004, this government has invested $285 million in Safe Schools initiatives that are helping make Ontario's schools some of the safest in the world, Speaker. We are very proud we're continuing to build on this good work. If passed, the Accepting Schools Act will create legal obligations for boards to address bullying prevention and early intervention, progressive discipline, and equity for inclusive education. For the very first time, Speaker, we are defining bullying in legislation so every student, every teacher, every principal, and every parent knows what we're talking about when we say bullying is not okay in our schools. I spoke the other day about it is important that this happen in the school environment. Yes, behaviors and values and ethics start at home, but it is at the school environment, Speaker, where many of us get socialized. That's where a lot of our learnings happen. Research shows that relationships in the school environment have a direct correlation to how students progress into adulthood, how they make important life decisions, how they choose educational paths, and so on. So doing this in the school context is very important, very compelling. One of our greatest strengths, Speaker, is diversity. We believe that all students, regardless of race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, disability, all of that, all students have the right to a safe and positive learning environment. We've talked about the gay-straight alliances, and I just want to comment that under Bill 13, that a naming of such groups is not overly prescriptive and provides flexibility, because we know that every school board has its own culture, has its own rhythm. So this bill provides flexibility on a number of fronts. I wanted to share some examples of some of the names of gay-straight alliances currently in place. One is Be the Movement from Campbellford and District High School. Another is Anti-Homophobia Alliance at Victoria Park College. Another one is Born Equal, Humberview Secondary School. Dialogue at Cardinal Carter Secondary School. Kenora Positive Spaces Alliance, Beaver Brae Secondary School. And YES, which stands for Youth Embracing Sexualities at Sir Wilfrid Laurier Collegiate, which is in my honourable member's riding of Guildwood-Scarborough, and also where my daughter happens to dance. So I'm very familiar with that high school. Our focus is not on the naming of these clubs, Speaker. The legislation is about making sure the kids get the support they need. We've hired more staff in schools, more social workers, more attendance counselors, lunch, yard and bus supervisors across the province. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud to support this bill, and I strongly encourage all members of the opposition to help us move this forward quickly to committee. Thank you.